This day 696 of Arukh HaShulchan. I thought that I'd be recording back from home, but I also had some downtime to record today's shir. If you like son's upcoming shir more of Arukh HaShulchan, please come me directly. Be greatly appreciated. Today we're doing Siman Tuf Lamed Daled, Sif Ches, till Tuf Lamed Vav, Sif Aleph. We need a Kabbalah Satur. So yesterday we left off with a cliffhanger about the Shita Satur, about the why you would need bittul after the bedika. The Kabbalah Satur Kmosh Kaz Rambam Per Gimel Din Zayin. The Rosh wants to explain the tour based on the Rambam. The Zel Shono. Shagam leave when he finished checking the about the Fichel Lo Bitel Konim Shesh. That we learned about before 6 hours. Mishesh Somala. Matzah chametz, and then after 6 hours in the 14th day, you found chametz. Matzah chametz should die to Allah, which we had the ass upon it. You believe and you had in mind, but shlachal b'shas, we forgot about eradicating it. The lobi, or you didn't eradicate it. I raised up by Rabbi Matzah. You're right by Rabbi Matzah Kamashana. But dikam chametz should die to Allah b'shlachal. So he's precise to say chametz which you had in mind and you forgot it. The b'zev shita in this case, it's simple. Should ever love you to violate the prohibition. She came when she were over. You died to Allah since you saw it. And you had it in mind. Sorry. Have a credible amazing, and you're close to being deliberate in your violation. Those explain the Kavanas Rambam. The Rambam needs to say the Chol Chametz Shloya Adam Mitchila, any Chametz you do not know about initially, ain't a very love cloud. You don't violate any prohibition of Bayur at all. But Rambam Batur wants to make a Magashin the Rambam the Tur. This is the Magen Avram. Ain't okay. It's not correct. Says Magen Avram. Bein Rambam Batur. Sorry, the Vayim Makom Shachlis Mochametz. So the place of Chametz is normally kept. Minister Shlometz and Chametz was founded over by Ra. You violated by Ra. Abishloy Dam Minakol. You didn't know about it at all. Alzok Shlo Badak, but that's why we didn't check the law. So much it seems so love Torah. You didn't know what the Torah commands you to do. Abuk Shabbatak, but you did check this. Zer Chametz Lo Matzah, but this Chametz didn't find. For the Dam Minakol, did not know about it at all. Father in over, you certainly do not violate anything. Because you're completely onus in this case. Selgan Gamra, so Torah is what 2 means. Also means because in Yisha Rabbi is Chametz Shalom Matzah B'chuli Vayna Chametz Shara. Chametz you find the Chametz that you saw. The short she's livdok when you began checking for the daito love and you had in mind to actually maintain it. For Rambam, for the bracket says here, Rambam Rambam explains where Shema Yimtzah Gluska Yafa. Maybe you're going to find a nice piece of bread or a nice roll. The daito love, and you're going to have das upon it. Kloimar, meaning Shema Yimtzah Chametz Daito love, because we're going to find the chametz which you had in mind previously. The local appears Rashi, the Tais says the Viduk, not like Rashi and Tais say that's a new piece you were not aware of, it's a piece you were aware of, and therefore there's no onus involved. That's it by Matzah would be violated. Test. Test. Paska to Shulchan Aruch. To ensure both passages show also shlich about the chem, so you can make a shlich to nullify chametz. Okay, but so come up by him. So Paskin pass this way. Shem says the shlich. Diko just make a shlich to check. Come on, the so can make a shlich to nullify. Vav gav the every dibur bam, even though it's just words. Normally we say you can't give authority over words to an agent, only authority over a transaction. As we say in Yeshiva, over a chales. There's no chales here. No, that's when we make a shliach to give over a delegation to another shliach. But the Baal Davar, the person who has the authority intrinsically and originally can bestow the authority even to make a verbal declaration on somebody else. I feel very. But according to this, for the Baal Bais to say to Reuven to tell Shimon to make a shliach about it, he can't do. The shliach means you can't give over a milay to shliach 1 to give to shliach 2, but to give milay to shliach 1 and he'll do it for you, that works. You have Davka show saying before shivato. That's only if you bestow upon him shlichos deliberate specifically to nullify. But you make him a shliach to do bedika, ain't no yochel batel. You can't be a batel under those circumstances. Me or near, because that's including the shlichus. As my Avram says, merely the Enoch Shembakshim al Chalshi the Chametz. But he says, you know what? Today, when we ask somebody to check the Chametz, Hakavana Gamma Bittul, the intent also includes Bittul. The Chali Abdika Bittul on a Krem Shem Bdikas Chametz Kedua. We call the overall process, including the Bdika and the Bittul Bdikas Chametz, as is well known. V'yeshu Shomer, those who say Shitzar Shiyamot Etzashtel. Some say you have to stand by the agent when appointing the agent. In other words, telephone would not be good enough. And a move on Matam is not clear why. The I'm sorry, it's not understood. The reason that some is machmir, the mitzvah tells us guf adam en yachol so shliach. Some people hold a mitzvah which is incumbent upon the person himself. He can't make a shliach. That's machzis shver Magen Avram. He came mamul mashomer that slow. But that's the case. What good does it do if the person standing? It would be like filling, right? You can't. The mitzvah is incumbent upon you. You can't give it over to somebody else to do for you. But it doesn't make a difference if you have mitzvah. If you're standing right next to you, or not standing right next to you, still can't give it over to him. But God made a minute. The minute is also that is not like that. In other words, the minute is that you can make a shliach on b'dika and bittul. Mr. Bura writes like Magen Avram that you have to. If you made a shliach for b'dika, it does not include bittul. Bela writes that even the according to Shita that it also includes bittul. If he went on a trip and made a shliach before his trip to check chametz, then that could include bittul. But if he's home, he has somebody to check his chametz, that doesn't include bittul. You have to do the bittul yourself, unless you explicitly told him to do the bittul for you. Yurav, when the shliach is batel on behalf of the Baal Bayis, so Shomer has to say, Chemtzo shall plenty a bottle of chametz of so and so should be nullified. Chol batel chametz of komshu, he can nullify the chametz wherever he's standing. Me'ena raga b'kach tuchal ishto batel chametz. If the shliach is not accustomed to being about the chametz, his wife can about the chametz of the mishaleach, the balbos. Have shu below daitoi, even though it's the mishaleach didn't appoint the woman, the wife, he appointed the husband. Nevertheless, it's clear that he wants the chametz to be nullified. Suslo, it's a merit for him. Shelo yavar ba'irua, in order that he shouldn't violate ba'irua. And the minhag is now in general is generally widespread. So if the husband is not home, the wife asks a man and that includes both the checking and the notification. Down inside the bottom, it's clear that the owner would be happy that is the case. The Prophet saying, "We should not cast doubt on this psak." Person is doing the b'dik and the bittul on behalf of the other person should say, or any leaven which is in that person's rishus, not his own, obviously. And brings that brackets much because of Teres Kanim we don't know what Teres Kanim wrote. Bishop says, nevertheless, should not rely on the bittul of your shliach's wife, and you should bata wherever you are. It sounds like the long shouldn't even be rely on your own wife. You should always vato yourself wherever you are. Even though he says the Bir Halacha says it's not. Some people cast aspersions on this halacha, but nevertheless, the Arukh HaShulchan says ain't fakir kuzeh, and the Arukh HaShulchan says at least that's fakir behind it. Again, the Arukh HaShulchan says the bishop says where the wife hires somebody to do the b'dika or directs somebody to do the b'dika, it's better for her to do the bittul herself. You base some ancient sources completely forbade doing bittul by shliach. Time the came bittul mitam hefker, since bittul is a form of hefker, making something ownerless. Shows that I can make your object ownerless. I can nullify your chametz as well. It's the Ran. It's not comparable. Because chametz anyway is not in your jurisdiction. Rakli by Roy only for the chiddush Torah that in order to be over by Roy, they put it as if it's under your jurisdiction. That's where just be megala das, revealing your intent is not to have this chametz in jurisdiction suffices. See if your Gimel already gave us as the rationale for the bittul itself. That's the primary halacha. A person who's the guardian of orphans has to check and be notified chametz of the orphans. The Mishnah Berurah says here that again, about the European halacha, it's those who machmir like the Ran, only the person himself can do the bittul, and b'shas atzlach you can rely on whoever shliach, either the woman, the wife, or the shliach doing the bittul as well, or even the wife of the shliach doing the bittul as well. Tough lamed hey, the Mishnah Berurah below you down mayaseh. So we didn't check the night of the 14th. What's he going to do? If you love it, if didn't check the night of the 14th, you've done beyond, you should check it during the day. Masai she's going never remembers. It's going to cut him short. Shishis remembers before the 6th hour, you've done batel. And you should check and also nullify. Shashish, if it's during the 6th hour, meaning between 11 and 12 a.m. standard time, right? Chatzos is at 12, or 12 and 1 daylight time, but Chatzos is at 1. You've done, you should check Yisrof and burn Flei Batel. You shouldn't. No. Actually, this is not. No. This Shashish, I mean, it's afternoon. Sorry, I take that back. Becoming Shashish means before noon. Afternoon, it's no longer rituals. Then Yivdok Yisrof, you should do B'dika and Sreifa of Leibata, but there's no point in nullifying. It doesn't work. So it's no longer under your jurisdiction. Voting for because it's also for benefit. So you have to check by light of a candle, just like at night. Well, obviously, unless it's broad daylight, we're in the courtyard. If you're low, but if you don't check by the 14th by day. Even though Koyim Pesach, check all days of Pesach. I feel be about so even on itself. I feel be till Koyim Pesach. Even if you nullify the comments before Pesach, and he won't be over by Ra. Come, nevertheless, goes. We're afraid you might come to eat from it, so therefore we want you to check and get rid of it. But the other way now to burn it. Of Kaylee, you should cover it with a vessel. Out of Lila to nightfall. If a Lila you spend a nightfall, you should burn it. You might ask, of course, why we don't make a decree, don't check, let's come to you while you're checking. We're not concerned with that. Also, since your intent on removing it, use cover. You remember you won't eat it. Fill beyond the Achor, even on the last day of Pesach, certainly you have to check. Issues you have to leave though, those things you should not check. And that is not the primary halacha. Mishnah Berurah says the Pri Chodesh says that if you weren't mevatel chametz for Pesach, you should check even on Yom Tov. But if you weren't mevatel chametz for Pesach, you should not check on Yom Tov, only on Chol HaMoed. And the Sharatzin also passed that when you mevatel it, you should only check on Chol HaMoed. That's a major machlekes between the Arukh HaShulchan and the Mishnah Berurah. If you not check during Yom Tov, you have to check also at the Pesach. So you shouldn't violate the prohibition of chametz, which was in the possession of a Jew during Pesach, from which it's forbidden the right benefit. This b'dika also has to be according to Takos Chachamim by the light of candle. But if you were nullified according to Pesach, and therefore by definition, you don't violate by Ra. Yeshu, some say, there are those who hold you don't have to check according to the opinion about Itr holds that where you worm about the chametz is mutter ba'ano after Pesach. But evidently we don't hold like the Itr in that respect. Gimel Shabaydek Pesach. They check Pesach. It's not Pesach. It's self-totally dog. Varich, I feel bito to make a bracha. Even you worm about the chametz. I did not know that. But after Pesach, the bdika who have a rock in the kadesh lo yikashel piece of chametz lo Pesach. We no longer check in order to be over by or not to be over by a matzah, only in order not to be over chametz lo Pesach. It's not relevant to make a bracha. Ve'chi bracha abir chametz v'ochel chametz. How are you going to make a bracha on eradicating chametz if you're eating chametz already? Good point. If you lobi tell, even if you didn't have chametz over by you violate by come and check brachas, and nevertheless no brachas to be made at this point. If you barak abitel the kedos, if you checked and you were vatel properly before Pesach, inside so chametz Pesach and now chametz Pesach, you find some chametz, or nischam so isa Pesach, or you were baking, made a dough, and that dough fermented on Pesach. Those say actually when you eradicate the chametz, you have to make a bracha of your chametz. That's chokam korchaim. Those aren't clear about this. That's the Tasman of Ram. Near and you start to subject brachas local. Shocker there. The subject brachas, you're lenient. They don't make a bracha. But brachas you kaya komash you talk. The truth is that the bracha made away the night 14th goes throughout Pesach and anything you check. And then we create the Placey and the Sefer Sarah Elif write the same thing. Mishlo Baruch Chametz Meis B'Shosh. She should not check his Chametz. He died after the 6th hour, after midday. The air should not make a bracha. Bokim bracha make a diko without a bracha. So Haim Einam Ovrim. They're not over by Ra. Shame Einam Rotzim Lirash Easter. They would not want to inherit something which is prohibited. Fu Mace and he died. They meet you. And therefore he's not required to make the bdika. There's nobody to say Asher Sivanu. Nobody was commanded on the bdika. That's Chok Yaakov Korchaim. Upashu dal mashu chametz in the varach rakal kazayis. And it's clear that in the mashu of chametz you don't make the bracha, regardless. This is according to she say you make the bracha on burning it. We don't during Pesach. We don't, but it would only be on a kazayis, not on a mashu. Right. So the custom brackets custom Korchaim. You can make a shliach also for chametz that you're going to buy afterwards. Mitam siluk, on account of removal. So the chametz begili daita sagi. I'm not sure exactly what he means by that, but I guess you make a shliach sometime earlier before Pesach. That it's also be on the chametz you buy afterwards, even though there's no shlichus on davar shlo ba'olam. In this case, since gili da suffices, so therefore it works even for davar shlo ba'olam. I guess that's what he's trying to say. Mishmur says the heirs, if they not have a mind to be zocher, they don't have to be mevar the chametz unless they're in that room itself. Then they have to be mevar the chametz because they might come to eat from it. Those who hold that no matter what, the heirs have to check and be mevar the chametz. The person dies after the 6th hour on Erev Pesach. Tough lamed vav. Dinam first yotzev shor, somebody who leave first bayom yotzev shor, somebody who's going by sea or by caravan. Aleph Kasab Ram Maso Perik Base, and first bayom, somebody who goes out to a sea journey. As the shore goes on a caravan journey, Tosh Shloshim within 3 days of Pesach Zog, has to check before he leaves. Kodim Shloshim goes out more than 3 days before the holiday, answer the dog. He doesn't have to check. He died to last look at Pesach, has to come back before Pesach, so he has to check and only then leave. Pesach, because maybe you're going to go back at Pesach, twilight time, too late. So the won't have time to eradicate the chametz. Doesn't have mind to come back, answer the dog, he doesn't have to check. The time of the Shloshim, why it's 30 days. Came in the Shadosh Milchos Pesach, because since they start expounding the halachos of Pesach, because for 30 days for Pesach, much time to see Tov Chavtes, Chal Love Chayvas Abdika. He's come upon him to check. He's a Bagmara. You don't ask. You can't. Commissioner send me based on how Purim Yachai Abdika. Anybody leaves his house for any reason after Purim should have to check. Then okay, it's not true. The Chashash is that it's only if somebody goes on a long journey, like to sea or to a desert. But a regular trip, journey, you don't have to be concerned. If you're going out to a sea or to the desert, I feel Pesach, if you think you're going to come back several days before Pesach, you have to check. He's going a long journey. He can tarry. But everything is according to the matter. But I feel they're krova, even if it's a short journey. If you're only going to go back a day or two before Pesach, and then the Kanoa tells the best laid plans, a man and mice. So in this case, the mice in the house will take the chametz. Certainly, you have to check. There was Mahmud Yochlis Mashech. It's only a short amount of time. Obviously, you can get delayed. Pasha the Choseu Hook Shenamia near Besa Ishobani. Obviously, when he doesn't leave at home, his wife or children. When he leaves them, let them check. Same Pasco a tour, but Shulchan Aruch passed in this accordingly. Mishmur says you should check before you leave. Some people are lenient. The Mai said has to do with how far or how close you're going. Mishmur says also it's appropriate for you to mevatel the chametz yourself when the time of the bittul comes, wherever you are, anywhere in the globe.